Welcome to Robert E. Cuther Gymnasium, where we are here on senior night with a packed gym. We are ready for boys varsity basketball. Marshfield defending their court against Quincy. Marshfield absolutely obliterating the court. They are 14-1. They have suffered one loss this season. That was to North Quincy, 66-49. On the other hand, Quincy has had a very rough season. They are 3-12. They're on an 8-game losing streak. Meanwhile, on the other side, Marshfield is on a 8-game winning streak. Quincy would definitely love to break this huge losing streak that they've been having, as quickly, just like that, 3 is dropped for Quincy. Meanwhile, the other end, Marshfield just wants to go into the playoffs and look good for everybody that's coming their way. As Matt Elwood puts up 2 for Marshfield. This game already off to an aggressive start. Meanwhile, now Jake Brilliant trying to steal the ball away, and he does so. Heading up the court, looking for a quick layup, and he'll sink it. And Brilliant fouled on the way up the court. The free throw is off the front of the rim by Brilliant. Now North Quincy definitely want to improve their game. They don't have an intention of making the playoffs, but they'd like to end their season with a win. A 10-game losing streak is not how they want to end their season. If they lose tonight, it'll turn into an 11-game losing streak as quickly Brady Loria takes the ball away, heading up the court. Sends it inbounds to Collins. Collins is fouled, will shoot 2 from Marshfield. This game off to an aggressive start. Quincy already with 2 fouls with a minute and a half into the first quarter. First free throw is off the front of the rim by Collins. And Collins makes his second, extending Marshfield's lead now by 2. And a quick pop-up for 2 by North Quincy. Jethen Pinnett puts up 2 for Quincy. Now Brilliant charges up the court, sends it back to Elwood. Elwood fakes 3, sends it to Collins. Fakes a pass to Loria. He's going to step up, shoot for 2 off the front of the rim. Almost rebounded by Elwood. Goes out of bounds, and it is a Quincy ball. Aja Souza throwing it in for North Quincy. Sends it to Ali Gute. Sends it back to Souza. Souza under the pressure of Jake Brilliant. Foul called on Brilliant. And number 30, Habib Gute, throwing it in. Quincy. Now Pinnett, under pressure, able to give it to Gute. Gute gives it to Raphael. Now this one into the hands of Souza, and he'll be called for a travel. Now Collins gives this one to Brilliant. And Brilliant quickly heads down the court. And Brilliant looking to go all the way potentially. Going to throw it across the court to Elwood, who's going to shoot for 3, and it's going to be airballed. Almost out of bounds. Brilliant tries to keep it out, but it goes out of bounds. But it is a Marshfield ball as it went off the arms of Habib Gute. Now Elwood quickly going to shoot for 3, and he'll sink it for Marshfield, extending their lead by 3. Now Quincy feeling the pressure. Quincy seems to need to lock down on defense a little more, and quickly Brady Loria goes down. That'll be a Quincy foul. Excuse me, no, it is a Marshfield foul. Their second of the quarter. Now Pinnett gives it to Goutet. Heads up the court, and it is blocked by Jack Stevens. Taken out of bounds. It's going to be a Quincy ball, but a great block by Stevens, preventing Quincy from getting points on the board. Now this one goes back to Goutet. Gives it to Souza, gives it to Pinnett. Shoots for three. And a timeout called by Marshall. We'll take a quick break for that here on MSB. We are back from a timeout here on MSB and Robert E. Cuther Gymnasium. It is a tied game, 8-8. Marshfield versus Quincy here on senior night in the Marshfield home court, as Brilliant quickly puts up two for Marshfield. Both teams seem to be evenly matched so far. Marshfield would hate to lose this game as they're on an 8-game winning streak. They would not like to let that go. This will be Marshfield's last game at home for the regular season. It is a big night to perform here at home for Marshfield. And Elwood, Brilliant, throws it in. 10 for Elwood. Ball goes out of bounds. It will be a Marshfield ball. And a slight substitution for Quincy. Goutet going to come out for Conroy to come in. Now Elwood makes his way down the court. Gives it to Collins. Sends it over to Brilliant. Now to Elwood. Elwood making his way around, pops up just off the front of the rim. And Pinnett goes down. No foul called. It is an out-of-bounds Quincy ball. And now a big substitution for Marshfield. 4 players coming out, 4 players coming in. Devine, Youngworth, Fortin, and Zielinski all come in for Marshfield. Scute shot for 3, rebounded. Now into the hands of Pinnett. Pinnett's gonna go all the way in and just around the rim. But recovered. Now to Conroy. Conroy sends this one in, taken away by Will Devine. Will Devine heading down the court. Gonna send it over to Brilliant. Sends it way across the court, back to Devine. And the ball goes out of bounds for a Quincy ball. Great play by Devine, taking away the ball from Quincy. Will Devine, an absolute weapon on defense, makes key takeaways each game. Always a treat to see Devine on defense. Now Brilliant fakes 3, keeping Quincy on their toes. Now under pressure, gives it to Fortin, who sends it over to Zielinski for 3, and just off the front of the rim. Great try there by Zielinski. Marshfield with a great play, keeping Quincy on their toes. As Pinnett quickly shoots for 3, and it's no good. Into the hands of Brilliant now as he heads down the court. Brilliant now charging in. Misses the layup. Foul called. Foul called on Quincy. Brilliant shooting 2 for Marshfield. And Brilliant sinks his first of 2. The Quincy student section trying to distract Brilliant, but he blocks out the noise and goes 2 for 2 in his free throws. Now Souza, under pressure from Zielinski, gonna get rid of it. Bobbled by Raphael. Now to Conroy. Conroy gonna give it to Pinnett. Sends it to Goutet. Back to Pinnett, back to Goutet. Back and forth action for Quincy. Once again, shoots for 3, no good. And Devine, intended for Brilliant, taken away by Goutet. Taken back by Brilliant, and he'll put up 2 for Marshfield. And a timeout called by Quincy. We'll take a break for that on MSB. We are back from a timeout here in Robert E. Cruther Gymnasium on MSB TV. Marshfield leads 14-8 against Quincy. It is senior night in Marshfield. Marshfield would love to win against a packed gymnasium, a filled student section, and all parents of seniors, including all parents of any other player watching on. A big night for Marshfield, their last home game before the playoffs, as Zielinski takes it away, and he'll put up 2 for Marshfield. Great play by Zielinski. Goutet had the ball from out of bounds, but Zielinski, great wherewithal to intercept the ball and put up 2 for Marshfield. Now Souza throwing it in for Quincy. Will Devine on defense. Now Souza whips it to Pinnett. Heading down the court, gives it to Goutet. Gives a signal to Pinnett. Now to Goutet. Charges his way up for 2. Goutet, a big weapon for Quincy. Just able to charge his way through any situation. Just like that, Goutet takes the ball away from Marshfield. Now over to Souza, who puts up 2 for Quincy. Marshfield had the lead, and Quincy coming right back. But a timeout is called by Quincy. We'll take a break for that timeout on MSB. We are back from a timeout in Robert E. Cruther Gymnasium. Marshfield leads 16-12. Quincy, what was once an 8-point lead for Marshfield, now turns into a 4-point lead for Marshfield. As Quincy walking down on offense, Marshfield needs to hustle up a little bit on defense as Elwood quickly shoots for 3 and sinks it for Marshfield. What a great player Elwood is for Marshfield. An absolute beast. Him and Brilliant, both point scorers for Marshfield. As Pinnett is called for stepping out of bounds, Youngworth throwing this in for Marshfield. Now Youngworth sends it into Elwood. Devine puts up the wall, and just like that, Elwood shoots once again for 3. Sinks it for Marshfield. Elwood's having an absolutely incredible game here on senior night. Senior night, the night to perform for all the seniors in Marshfield, and Matt Elwood is definitely doing so as Souza gives it to Pinnett. Shoots for Quincy off the front of the rim. Devine knocks him down. That'll be a foul called on Marshfield. Pinnett will shoot 2 for Quincy. Marshfield leading by 10. Both teams with 3 fouls this quarter. Marshfield student section distracting Pinnett. He misses his first of 2. And Pinnett, second one goes off the back of the rim. And it is a free throw violation. You don't see those too often. But nonetheless, there's a Marshfield ball. Fortin throws it into Elwood. Elwood under pressure from Goutet, able to head down the court. No, Devine puts up the wall for Elwood. And Elwood steps in, shoots. No good. Rebounded by Devine. No good, but rebounded by Zielinski, and he puts up 2 for Marshfield. Marshfield with a no-give-up attitude. 2 missed shots, but Zielinski still able to rebound it and put up 2 for his team, extending their lead by 12. And Goutet sends it into Souza. And it will be a Marshfield foul. It is a Quincy ball. 7 seconds to go in the first quarter. Marshfield leads by 12. And Goutet shoots for 2. Now Elwood with 3 seconds left in the first quarter. Gonna take a last second shot, and it is off the front of the rim. That ends the first quarter. Marshfield leads 24-12 against Quincy. Both teams playing absolutely incredible games, but we'll take a break for the minute in between each quarter here on MSB. We are entering the second half here in Robert E. Cuther Gymnasium. Marshfield versus Quincy. Marshfield leads 24-12. Both teams locking down on defense. Both teams playing great offense. Quincy, though, needs to find a better way at figuring out Marshfield's offense, as their defense has been struggling so far this game. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Marshfield absolutely dominating both sides of the court, as Souza quickly takes it away from Hessian. As I was just saying, Quincy needs to lock down on defense. Maybe they have realized that entering the second quarter, as it was just shown there. And a travel called on Quincy. Pinnett gonna get called for traveling. Now Hessian throws it over to McCabe. Passes it to Holmes. Now to Richardson, who goes in. Fakes to Hessian, gives it to him the second time. Ball is bobbled, and it goes out of bounds. Quincy ball. Now Pinnett gives it to Conroy. Hang down the court, give it to Goutet. And Conroy now gives it to Goutet. Fakes the layup, sends it to Pinnett, sends it back to Souza. Now to Goutet, shooting from the free throw line, off the front of the rim, but recovered. Goes for a second chance, no good. Now Richardson has it for Marshfield. And Richardson looking to send it to Holmes, tipped by Goutet, and the ball goes out of bounds. But it is a Marshfield ball. Now Richardson, under pressure from Conroy, sends it to McCabe. McCabe looking to head in, loses the ball for a moment, but able to give it to Richardson, who charges in, looking for a layup, no good. Foul called on Quincy. Richardson gets 2. And Richardson goes 1 for 2 in free throws. Now Quincy feeling the pressure now as they are down by 13. They are feeling the pressure to perform as they deeply want to come back and put up points, but Marshfield just absolutely obliterating them when it comes to defense. And Conroy gets to put up 2 off the back of the rim. Recovered by Raphael. Ball is tipped away, though, but it will be a Marshfield foul. Raphael going to get 2 shots. The foul is called on Ryan McCabe. Marshfield's first of the second quarter, their 4th of this game. Both teams with 4 fouls in this game as Raphael's first free throw off the back of the rim. Raphael under pressure from Marshfield. Student section goes 0 for 2 in free throws. The student section here in Marshfield definitely playing an aspect against Quincy. They're feeling the pressure with a full student section watching them, and a traveling called on Richardson. Unfortunate foul for Richardson, and now a huge substitution for Marshfield. All seniors are now on the court. It is a full senior lineup here from Marshfield. And Conroy, under the pressure of Loria, doesn't know who to give it to. Able to give it away. Oh, looks for Souza, bounces off his chest. Conroy gets the ball. Now pin it. Under the pressure from Collins, and a foul called on Quincy. Coach Fish from Marshfield extremely vocal tonight. He wants Marshfield to win on senior night in their last game of the regular season at home. I should also mention that Fish, Jack Stevens, puts up 2 for Marshfield. As I was saying, Fish, earlier this season, celebrated 700 wins as the Marshfield coach. An impressive milestone for Fish. But as Fish said on Before the Bells, he's had 600 and he's had 500. It's just another milestone for him at Marshfield. Fish has been leading this team very well this season. Marshfield 14-1 under the guidance of Bob Fish. Now Elwood pops up from the free throw line around the rim. Recovered by Quincy. And now Stevens takes it away from Pinnett. Now to Brilliant, who shoots for 3, and it's good for Marshfield. Marshfield leads 30-12, and Quincy will call a quick timeout, which we will take a break for here on MSB. We are back from a Quincy timeout here in Robert E. Cruther Gymnasium. Marshfield leads 30-12 against Quincy. It has been an all Marshfield game. Quincy has yet to score here in the second quarter as Collins tips it away, and the ball is on the ground. Jump ball possession called by the refs. An intense moment when the ball hits the floor and both teams go for it. Now Souza looking for a man, gives it to Pinnett, sends it back to Souza under pressure from Stevens. Stevens, an absolute weapon on defense for this Marshfield team. And a bobbled ball now to Conroy, who shoots for 3 off the rim. Marshfield locking down on defense, and Brilliant tips it away from Bayes, but the ball goes out of bounds. It will be a Quincy ball. A great play by Brilliant. Brilliant, a great player from Marshfield, keeping up the hustle, chasing the ball. And Quincy just can't put the ball in the hoop in this second quarter as Brilliant gives it to Collins, who pops up 2 for Marshfield. A great quick play from Marshfield as Souza throws it over the head of his teammate. Ball will go out of bounds for a Marshfield ball. Now Elwood slips it to his fellow senior captain, Brilliant, who gives it to Loria. Misses it, but recovered by Stevens. Back to Loria, who gives it to Stevens, shooting for 3, off the rim. And the ball close to going out of bounds, and it goes out of bounds. Whose ball is it? It's a Quincy ball. Now Souza gives it to Pinnett. Now out of the hands of Goutet. And now a big substitution incoming from Marshfield. We are 3 minutes away from halftime. Quincy would love to put up at least something against Marshfield as they are down by 20. Now Goutet charging in. Bumps into Loria, and it is a clear travel by Quincy. And as I said, a huge substitution now for Marshfield. Zielinski, Padden, Ryan, Fortin, all into the game. And Ryan, nailed by Goutet. Ball goes out, Marshfield ball. Kim Ryan taking a rough hit from Goutet. But nevertheless, this one's going to be thrown in by Fortin. Over to Collins. And just like that, Fortin pops up 2 for Marshfield. Now Pinnett. Hang up the court for Quincy, and the ball's on the ground. And now it's tipped away by Fortin into the hands of Collins, who intended for Zielinski. Ball will go out of bounds for a Quincy ball. A quick play from Marshfield, unsuccessful. And another substitution made by Quincy. They're trying to find a rhythm here in the second quarter. Now with 2 minutes to go until halftime, Quincy has yet to score in the second quarter. Quincy would love to at least put up something, as I've said before. But at this point, Marshfield's defense is absolutely dominating Quincy's offense. And just like that, Fortin tips it out. And Chen shooting 2 for Quincy. Misses his first. And now Zielinski comes out of the game for Youngworth to enter. And Chen puts up the first point for Quincy in this second quarter. And it seems to be a free throw violation by Quincy. That point will be taken away from Chen. Quincy definitely not happy about that call. But what the ref says goes. And Collins, with a minute and a half left until halftime, gives it to Padden, who sends it in to Ryan, gives it back to Fortin, who for 3 pops it in from Marshfield. Excuse me. Fortin just over the 3-point line. That's going to count for 2 rather than 3 for Marshfield. And the ball goes out of bounds. And it is a Quincy ball. Kim Ryan tried his best not to tap the ball out, but I think prior to, the ball was tipped by Marshfield. Now Quincy looking for their first points this quarter. No good. Now into the hands of Collins. And Collins zips it to Padden, who's under pressure, going to give it to Ryan, who charges in, looking for Padden. 1 minute to go. It is a Quincy foul. Ryan throwing this ball in for Marshfield. And Ryan finds a man in Collins. And Collins gives it back to Ryan. Now to Padden makes his way in, looking for Fortin, taken away by Quincy. McClay takes away, but taken back by Padden. Puts up 2 for Marshfield, extending their lead. Marshall leads 38-12. There is 30 seconds left until halftime. Quincy just practically giving it to Marshfield at this point as Tucker Collins puts up 2 for Marshfield. Quincy is having a rough game against Marshfield. It is a Marshfield blowout so far in this second half. In this second quarter. And Tucker Collins for Marshfield shooting 2 free throws. And one free throw. The first one is off the front of the rim, and Ryan now fighting for that rebound. And a travel called. It is a Quincy ball. 20 seconds left until halftime. Marshfield dominating Quincy, 40-12. Quincy would love to come back. As I said before, Quincy would love to put up points in this second quarter. They have yet to make a shot in this second quarter, except for Chen on the free throws, but he was called for a free throw violation. The point was taken away. That is the only time the ball has gone in the basket for Quincy as 10 seconds remains. At this point, Collins is just going to dribble the ball out until halftime. One last second three-pointer off the front of the rim. And that's it. It is halftime here in Robert E. Cuther Gymnasium. Marshfield leads 40-12 on senior night. It is an absolute dominating game for Marshfield. But we'll take a break for halftime. We'll see you when they come back. We are entering the second half here in Robert E. Cuther Gymnasium. Marshfield leads 40-12 against Quincy. It has been an absolute Marshfield dominating blowout against Quincy. Quincy didn't even score in the second quarter as Devine looks to put up 2 for Marshfield. It goes around the rim. Now into the hands of Chen. Gives it to Souza, who puts up points for Quincy. Quincy hasn't put points on the board since the first quarter. Marshfield has been locking down on defense. They allowed 0 points from Quincy in the second quarter. The only time Quincy put a ball in a net is when Chen hit his second of 2 free throws, but then got the point taken away because he was called for a free throw violation. Marshfield is absolutely dominating Quincy. But Quincy, putting up 2 points early in this third quarter, is looking promising. As Elwood shooting 2 for Marshfield. An extremely special night here for Marshfield. It being senior night in a packed student section, their last game here at home before the playoffs. And Elwood goes 1 for 2 in free throws, extending their lead. Now Souza, heading up the court, gonna take it by himself. Misses the first, into Conroy's hands, misses, into Souza, misses, now to Conroy, misses. Quincy with 4 chances to put the ball up, but now a foul was called on Marshfield. Conroy shooting 2 for Quincy. And Conroy sinks his first. And Conroy goes 2 for 2 in free throws, putting some points up on the board for Quincy. And Elwood has it for Marshfield. Under pressure, still finds a way down the court, gives it to Youngworth, who gives it to Devine, who takes it in, and off the back of the rim. And it's a fight for the ball. Ball goes out of bounds. It is a Quincy ball. Now Pennant gives it to Conroy. Heading up the court. Foul called. Foul called on Marshfield. It is a Quincy ball, Marshfield's second foul. Their 8th, I believe, of the game. And Souza gives it to Conroy, shoots for 3 off the front of the rim. And Souza tries to fight for the ball with Fortin. Tries to give it to Zielinski. Taken back by Quincy. Now to Pennant. Gives it to Goutet. Back to Pennant. Conroy fakes 3. Back to Pennant. Marshall locking down on defense. Quincy looking to find an opening. And Souza shooting for 3. He'll sink it for Quincy. Now Elwood heading up the court. Fakes a shot, gives it to Youngworth. Ball is taken away by Chen. Now into the hands of Conroy. And this one goes to Pennant. Gives it back to Chen, who shoots for 3. Sinks it for Quincy. Quincy is on fire so far. In this third quarter, Quincy back-to-back 3-pointers. Quincy slowly but surely trying to climb back as Elwood pops up 2 for Marshfield. It is back and forth action between Quincy and Marshfield. The game is intensifying, and it is intensifying fast. Quincy. And Fortin takes the ball away, gives it to Elwood. Oh, looking around, looking for someone to pass to. Devine has his hand up, but he is under pressure, and Elwood just going to shoot off the front of the rim. Now into the hands of Conroy. Heading down the court, gets tipped by Devine. And Devine now heading in, looking for 2. Ball goes out of bounds. It is a Marshfield ball, and now a substitution incoming for Marshfield. A huge substitution, a full replacement for Marshfield. And Brilliant gives it to Patton, who gives it to Collins. And Collins gives it to Stevens, now to Patton, who charges up and puts up 2 for Marshfield, extending their lead. Marshfield up by 23 as Patton tips it away. Doing a great job keeping it in bounds. Gives it to Brilliant, who misses 2. But into the hands of Stevens. Looking around, gives it to Collins. And the ball is no good. And the call is a foul on Quincy. Tucker Collins getting 2 shots for Marshfield. An intense play for Marshfield there. Collins goes 1 for 2, shoots for 3, no good. Now into the hands of Chen, zips it across the court to Goutet, and a travel will be called on Chen for a Marshfield ball. Brilliant, gonna throw it in for Marshfield, gives this one to Patton. Patton looking for a man. Quincy locking down on defense as Souza takes the ball away. Ball rolls out of bounds for a Marshfield ball. And Collins throws it into Brilliant. Heading up the court, gives it to Patton. Fakes 1. Shoots another. And it is called a Quincy foul. Dan Patton shooting 2 for Marshfield. And Padden misses his first of two. Marshfield looking to extend their lead. And now Marshfield gonna send in Nolan Holmes for Dan Padden. Now Chen, under the pressure from Holmes, gets the ball tipped by Brilliant, but into the hands of Goutet. And Goutet fakes from the free throw line, now into the hands of Chen. Gives it back to Goutet, who sends it to Chen. Ball is tipped out of bounds by Brilliant. This is a Quincy ball. Marshfield just absolutely wiping the floor with Quincy as it comes to defense. Marshfield absolutely dominating the defensive side. And now Brilliant looking to grab the ball from Marshfield as there was a missed three-pointer by Pinnett. Nonetheless, no points scored by Quincy. Now this one goes to Holmes. Gives it to Brilliant, who pops up two for Marshfield. What an incredible game Jake Brilliant has been having here tonight, especially on senior night. Him and Matt Elwood absolutely cleaning up against Quincy. Both players absolutely impressive in this game. As the ball goes out of bounds, Tucker Collins doing a great job trying to get the ball back inbounds, but ball goes out. It is a Quincy ball. As I was saying, Brilliant and Elwood, both star players tonight for Marshfield, both senior captains, certainly deserving that title, as they both have been putting up the points for Marshfield. And a traveling called on Quincy. Quincy having a tough time on offense when it comes to fouls and just not having what it takes to get through Marshfield's defense. Quincy would hate to extend to an 11-game losing streak, but as of right now, this game is looking like they're going to do so. And Marshfield is going to play their last game of the regular season at home, looking for a win. And Stevens puts up two for Marshfield. Excuse me. As I was saying, Marshfield looking to win their last game of the regular season at home. The next two games they play will be away. And Chen charges in, but he'll be called for a travel. Chen having a hard time this game. Multiple travels for him. Just having an all-around rough time so far. Chen also having a free throw violation. Definitely wants to come back in this game. Chen has been having an absolute rough game today. Marshfield absolutely dominating. Now McCabe heading in for Marshfield, gonna take it by himself, and he'll put up two for Marshfield, extending their lead. Just an absolute dominating Marshfield game here in Robert E. Cuther Gymnasium. And Raphael sends it to Souza. Looks for three off the rim. Now gives it to his teammate Bayes, who puts up two for Quincy. Marshall leads 53-24 with a minute and 15 seconds left in the third quarter. It's been an all-out Marshfield game. And now Youngworth almost loses the ball. Now into the hands of McCabe. Now into the hands of Youngworth. Looks for two, no good. And now a fight for the ball under the net. It is taken by Quincy. Now we are less than a minute. We are at less than a minute here in the third quarter. And Goutet looks for two. Holmes goes down. I'm sensing a Quincy foul on that play. And I stand corrected. Quincy with their fourth foul this quarter. Quincy playing very aggressively, but playing a little too aggressively against Marshfield. As Quincy seems to be left in the dust by Marshall, their frustration is definitely starting to grow as they are not happy about losing against Marshall, but they are not going to give up. They're going to try to come back in this game. Now a foul called on Marshfield. Goutet getting 2 for Quincy. 30 seconds left in the third quarter. Marshall dominating 53-24 as Goutet goes 0 for 1 so far. And Goutet sinks his second. Quincy down by 28 against Marshfield. As I've said before, and I will say it again, it has been an all Marshfield game. They have been absolutely wiping the floor with Quincy so far. When it has come to everything, offense, defense, free throws, as McCabe dribbling out the clock. 5 seconds left. McCabe gives it to Holmes for a last second three. No good. Into the hands of Raphael. And that's going to end the third quarter. We'll take a break for the end here in Robert E. Kuthar Gymnasium on MSB TV. We are back, and we are entering the fourth quarter here in Robert E. Kuthar Gymnasium. Marshall leads 53-25 against Quincy. It has been all Marshfield so far. And when I say all Marshfield, I mean all Marshfield. On offense, on defense, in free throws, even in fouls. And as I was saying right there, an offensive foul now just called on Quincy. Quincy having a hard time, both on offense and defense. Way too many fouls and not enough points for Quincy. As Youngworth gives this one to Brilliant, who faces pressure from Goutet, able to escape. Gonna zip this one over to Loria. Who gives it to Youngworth, shoots for 3 off the rim. Youngworth yet to make a shot here today. Hopefully by the end of the game he has at least one, but so far the Marshall team doing a great job spreading the ball around, giving each player a chance to score points, especially on senior night. As Pinnett quickly throws up 3 for Quincy. Now Devine just charging his way through Quincy, puts up 2 for Marshfield. Great player, Will Devine, both on offense and defense. An absolute weapon for Marshfield. Him, Brilliant, and Elwood all having incredible games here tonight. And Pinnett now going to take this one in for Quincy off the rim. And Devine tips it away. Ball goes out of bounds. It is a Quincy ball. And now Bongelati and Ryan both coming in for Marshfield. Now this one into Souza. Back to Goutet. Now back to Souza. Gives it to Raphael, who fakes the layup. Gives it to Bayes, and he puts up 2 for Quincy. Quincy down by 25. Marshall leads 55-30. And now Brilliant throws the ball intended for Youngworth into the hands of Pinnett now. And Pinnett throws it to Goutet, fakes 3, gives it to Bayes, who gives it to Souza. Was thinking about shooting 3 under pressure from Bongelati. Gives it to Raphael, who gives it to Bayes, back to Souza. Quincy unable to find a rhythm here on offense. And Pinnett just going to shoot for 3, and he'll be in and out of the hoop. But recovered by Souza, who puts up 2 for Quincy. And a timeout called by Quincy. We'll take a break for that here on MSB. We are back from a timeout here in the fourth quarter in Robert E. Cuther Gymnasium. Marshfield dominating the court against Quincy. Marshfield leads 55-32. And Patton gives it to Youngworth. Excuse me, that's Loria. And Loria gives it back to Youngworth. Now it's a fight for the ball between him and Raphael. And a holding will be called on Raphael for that. And a substitution for both Marshfield and Quincy. Excuse me, just Marshfield. Now Patton lobs it to Ryan, who looks to put up 2 drops. Souza. Surprisingly, the foul was called on Souza, but nonetheless it is a Marshfield ball. That is Quincy's 3rd foul of the quarter. Quincy having an extremely rough game against Marshfield. Quincy, not sure how many, but all I know is they've had a lot of fouls, both on offense and defense so far in this game. Quincy playing extremely aggressively, but needs to go a little easy if they want to put up points against Marshfield and come back in this game. As Bongelati just put up 2 for Marshfield, extending their lead 57-32. Pinnett misses 3. Goes to Patton. Now Patton going to take it by himself, tipped by Raphael, now into the hands of Souza. Now Souza almost gets the ball taken away by Patton, gives it to Pinnett, who fakes 3. Now to Raphael. Back to Pinnett, looking to take this one in, but sends it across the court to Baez. Gives it to Souza. And now to balls, quickly taken away by Patton. And Patton now with an easy layup for Marshfield, put us up for Marshfield. Patton with a great takeaway for Marshfield, puts up 2, extending their lead. Marshfield dominating Quincy through all quarters in this game. And while that play went down, foul called on Quincy. Patton shooting 2 for Marshfield. And Patton misses his first, Patton only got 1 shot there. Now Souza and Patton both looking for the ball. Patton slips out of bounds and is a Quincy ball as Richardson and Hessian both entering the game for Collins and Patton. Now Goutet. And Richardson tips the ball away from Conroy, and the ball goes out of bounds. It is a Marshfield ball. Richardson saw the opening during that pass play to Conroy, and he took it, tipping the ball away. Now Hessian gives it to Bongelati, sends it over to Zielinski, back to Hessian, who now faces a 3-on-1, and he will be fouled on the way there. Hessian shooting 2 for Marshfield. Hessian sinks his first. And Youngworth and Stevens both enter the game for Marshfield for Bongelati and Ryan. And Hessian goes 2 for 2 in free throws, extending the lead 61-32 against Quincy. Now Souza 3 minutes and 30 seconds left for Quincy to make a massive comeback. And for the first time this quarter, Marshfield fouls Quincy. Pinnett shooting 2 for Quincy. Excuse me, only shooting 1 for Quincy. Quincy down by 26. Now down by 28. 3 minutes and 15 seconds for Quincy to make a 28-point comeback. You never know. Quincy could shock the entire gymnasium, making a comeback in 3 minutes. But in my opinion, it seems like it's going to be a Marshfield win. And Conroy, with 6 seconds left on the shot clock, throws up the ball, and it goes in for Quincy. Interesting play. And Souza loses the ball. It goes out of bounds for a Marshfield ball. Youngworth throwing it in for Marshfield. Gives this one to Hessian. And Hessian gives it to Richardson, who throws it all the way across the court to Stevens for a wide open 3 and off the rim. But now into the arms of Zielinski, who gets rid of it to Richardson. Richardson looks to pop up the layup, taken away by Souza. And Souza gives it to Pinnett with a wide open lane. Puts up 2 for Quincy. And Youngworth gives it to Hessian, who makes his way up the court for Marshfield. Now Youngworth. Youngworth is fouled on his way up the court. He will get 2 for Marshfield. That is the 6th foul for Quincy in 1 quarter. The scoreboard in Robert E. Cruther Gymnasium only goes up to 5, but Quincy has 6 fouls. And Youngworth misses his second of 2. Now Souza, with 2 minutes left in this game, it's looking like a Marshfield win here in Robert E. Cruther Gymnasium, the last game for Marshfield here at home in the regular season before the playoffs. Quincy is on a 10-game losing streak. It's looking like they're going to move to an 11-game losing streak. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Marshfield on a 6-game win streak, looking to move to a 7-game win streak. And Youngworth is fouled on his way up the court. Another foul for Quincy. Quincy is just not doing well on defense, playing way too aggressively. The 7th foul for Quincy here in this quarter. 7 fouls in 1 quarter alone. Quincy not having a great game as Youngworth goes 0 for 1, shooting free throws. And a substitution for Quincy made as a minute and a half left in the game. Youngworth shooting his second, and it bobbles around and no good. Ball goes out of bounds, and it is a Marshfield ball. Now Andrew Youngworth looking for a man, gives it to Stevens. Stevens sends it back to Youngworth, who sends it all the way across the court to Hessian. And Hessian signals to Youngworth. Marshall looking to give Youngworth some points here on senior night. And now Loria looking to charge up court. And a foul called on, I believe, Quincy. That is the 8th foul of the quarter for Quincy. I am absolutely shocked at the amount of fouls that Quincy has had in this quarter alone. They've been playing way too aggressively on defense. But I will give credit where it's due. They have been stopping Marshfield's offense, but not in a clean way. And Loria goes 1 for 2 in free throws. Marshfield leads 64-39. And there is 1 minute to go here in Robert E. Cruther Gymnasium. I'm just going to say it now. It's a Marshfield win. As Quincy puts up 2, Marshfield is looking at a dominating win against Quincy. And Youngworth now looking to put up 2 for Marshfield off the rim. Ball goes out of bounds. It is a Marshfield ball. 41 seconds to go. Stevens looking for Youngworth, gives it to him. Youngworth steps back and he scores for the first time in the game on senior night. Youngworth with 40 seconds left scores for the first time. His last game of a regular season at home as a senior. Great play for Youngworth, getting his points for the first time this game. I believe all seniors that are having their last regular season home game here on senior night have scored. So it's safe to say it's been a good senior night. And now Hessian with 10 seconds left on the clock. Just going to give this one to Zielinski with 5 seconds to go. Running out the clock. Back to Hessian. 1 second. There it is. The game is over. Marshfield wins 66-41 in a dominating fashion against Quincy. Here at home on senior night with a packed student section. Marshfield has delivered. And that wraps up the game. I'm Ben Wilson for MSB TV. And for the last time this season, good night.